Hi everybody, Corrie here, coming in to do a channeled message. This is the weekly blog. So I wasn't going to do this one. I was taking some time away, taking some time off, but channel kind of puts me back in when needed. And I heard loud and clear, document it, record it, place it out there. And it's that sense of conclusions, disconcernment, all of these kind of, the way it's coming up for me is, and my fingers are going with this, the way this is coming up for me is that sense of we make conclusions about people, we make conclusions about how we think certain people are, or how we think people live because they may have money, or they may have, or they may not have money, or they may live a different, on the wrong side of the tracks, I call it, or they may have a profession that you think this is what they're all like. And it's a sense of conclusions, and coming from launching and publishing my first book, More Than Existing, I recognize a sense of assumptions, assuming, kind of waiting to see what would come out of the books. And as you see me here tonight doing this vlog, and this is at night, it is 10:30 at night, I'm sitting here writing, and channel asked me to do this. It was the sense that as you see me tonight, you see me in here, no makeup, no hair done, being very much my 10:30 at night self. And sometimes this is what my all day looks like. And we make those conclusions sometimes of how we think people are, or what we think people have. And I've had this often of assuming and making conclusions about what people think I am, or how people think I am personally. So the channel asked me to take that and let it sit in my heart and feel it, so that I could transmute a message of love for the week, and taking us all the way into the end of the month and into September, as we are up on a time when the world is still in upheaval. We still have a lot of energy that's taking place, and I am seeing the beauty in the world, and I've stayed on the faith train. But there's a lot of conclusions. There's a lot of, it's that disconcernment of right and wrong. We know what is right, we know what is wrong, and we know when sometimes we're allowing ourselves to be manipulated and fooled, and feeling as if we have to take sides, or we know we need to be, we feel as if we can't be ourselves, or we have to put the face on, the mask for the world. And More Than Existing book was wrote all about taking the mask off. I was not a professionally trained writer. That is not how I started. And yes, I graduated with probably a 55, 60 in language arts, but God had a plan, God consciousness, whatever you want to call God, I don't care. But for me, I call God, and that God had a plan. And there's that sense of when you're asked to create, when you're asked to use your stories and your vulnerability and your realness to be a voice of truth for you, then it starts to unravel stories of, we recognize how much of our lives we've made conclusions and assumptions and choices that were not aligning to our truest of self. And so it takes us so far away from ourselves. So what's coming up for me is that, and I asked the angel cards to join me. So this is Bradley Valentine's cards, and these were back in the very original, when I took my original angel card course with Radley and Doreen Virtue back in the beginning. And so this was a life experience, and this is Archangel Shamiel, however you want to say it. There's so many ways of saying it, and that's one of the places that sometimes we're afraid to speak, afraid we're going to say something wrong. I have issues pronouncing my words because of a neurological condition, or even getting words out sometimes. So my ums is not that I can't speak. My ums is that I'm listening to channel and also trying to wait for the delay to come forth. And the powerful remessage that's coming through is that when we claim us and we stop being so concerned about conclusions or coming to a conclusion or getting to an end or afraid of an ending, afraid things have to die off, that we have to let go of things, then when we let go of that, when we stop letting go of the sense of trying to so-called do the right thing, to be on the right side of the tracks, to fit in, to blend in, to be a part of something, that's when we truly start to embrace and we start to step into our light. That's when we truly become ourselves. Me creating videos for as long as I have, me doing this work for as many years as I have now, is that you have seen the best of me. You've probably seen the worst of me. You've seen me grow, evolve. You've seen me become a part of, you've seen me kind of shed my skin in front of these videos and through the evolution of the More Than Existing program and the book. And what's coming through for this is the sense that what if you have a feather that's broken in your wings? What if you have some feathers that don't look like the rest? What if you can still fly with a broken feather? What if you can still be the best of you without having to see an outcome, without knowing what the future looks like? What if just the way you are, with no mask, no having to pretend you're somebody, no having to put a face on for the world, what if you're enough? What if we all mattered? What if everything that people have taken claim to, and we build conclusions on assuming that we know people and we know what people are like, and we assume, well, you're like this because you are this, or you're like that. What if we let all that go? What if we surrendered all that over? What if we understood what mindfulness really meant? And I don't mean the commercialization of mindfulness. I don't mean the sense of becoming this propaganda life of creation, that it's like, well, you need to be this enlightened being and you have to be this and you have to have this image, and people build these conclusions on what you are. I mean, what if you can take off the mask? What if you can effing just be you? And I want to swear so bad there. It's like, what if you could just be you? What if there is more wisdom to be discovered by allowing yourself to sit with your bare, raw self, rather than trying to gain so much knowledge by constantly being connected into a social media world, by constantly consulting with other people to decide for you what is right and what is wrong for you, by telling you the conclusion of your story. What if your story is not yet written? What if the story you have been living thus far is not yours? What if it is based on all the conditioning, beliefs, habits, everything else that you've been trying to be enough for somebody else, or trying to be somebody else's happy ending or somebody else's story, or trying to nurture the insecurities in somebody else, even someone who's so-called trying to help you? What if those people that sometimes are there to help you have an ulterior motive? What if that master manipulation, that mastermind of the game of life, what if their desire to help you is ultimately so that they don't have to deal with themselves? What if they're there with their mask on, preaching to you about what you should be to be a better person while they pass judgment upon you? No one has a right to that. No one gets to do that. We don't have the right to do that to other people. And I am just as guilty as anyone else. That's why channel works through me, is the fact that I am putting the work in to make sure that I don't do that, to try my very best to be the best version of me. And what I'm being told is that you are in a time when being the best version of you, being your truth, taking off the mask, is what's going to be the winning game. It is not going to be winning to get to an end. This is not a race. This is called life. What if your story has yet to be written? What if there's a story still to be told? What if there's so much more? And I'm off of work personally because I'm tapped. I'm tapped. And there's a period in time in life when you have to say you're tapped. I'm not tonight. I'm actually refreshed. I've been away for a few days. But that's why I had to step away. And I have to have faith in a process that's bringing me back into my light as I've been rewriting the stories of my life. And through 4 books and a bunch of programs, I realized that in order to live in my truth, to live in my story, you sometimes have to take it all off. You have to take off that cape. You can't be the superhero. You can't save the world, and you can't save you if you have nothing left to save you. If you're trying to create your story so that it is to please somebody else or it's to make sure that you make it, well, no one out there gets to decide your destiny. You do. God creation does. The light within, the fated stories that are here to guide us. We're told to take action. You're here to take action. You're being told to take action and to put the work into you. And eight of earth is what comes up. And it's like, plant your feet on the ground. Where you are today is perfect. Where you are right now is a perfect place to start. Where you are right now is a perfect place to surrender. Where you are is a perfect place to start to truly learn. And it's not always in a book. It's in the whispers. It's in the whispers of the trees. It's in the whispers of life. It's in the whispers that you hear from your heart saying, choose me. That means choose yourself. Choose you. And this is about going back, eight of earth in the cards, and I don't read by the card. 8 of earth is about, really going back and learning. This is, so what I'm getting is, this is a time to go back, relearn life, no matter what you've done. What I've done was I had to let go of it all, live like I know nothing, and relearn life. I had to relearn to be the woman I am today. I had to relearn a lot of things, to let go of a lot of the past. A lot that's conditioned to us is the way that is the coping skills for those who raise us, those who surround us, those who are with us, those we get into relationships with. And we become their coping. We become like them in a lot of ways, because we become conditioned. We become sponges to that. And the 9 of water is that your wishes are about to come true. Your dreams are about to come true. But do you know how this happens? Do you know how this takes place? It takes you putting the action in. It takes you letting go of coming to the conclusion of a story based on a false truth, on old truths that you've been living, that you live to be true. And by giving life to the past, this is about you truly moving forward. It's about you really stepping into this water. 9 of water is truly like the cards that water really links to the water signs. And I think of Pisces and how emotional based they are, and they're so guided and led based on emotions and senses. And sometimes our emotions can lie to us, and sometimes our buried treasures are not buried as far as what we think they are. They just have become shadowed, and we become shadowed. And truly, it is a time to start building the most healthiest relationship that you can, and that's with you first. But it's also about unity. So these are 2 major arcana cards that comes out. And when I'm picking up this sense of unity, what's coming up for me is more of the sense of why can we all not come together? It's like they've built conclusions on these on if you're a Christian, if you're a certain religion, if you're spiritual, if you're this, you can't be that. If you're that, you can't be this. And if you're this, you can't be a part of that. And I've seen families be torn apart because of a belief in a religious belief. God, Jesus, would never pull anyone apart. They would never rip families apart. That sense of you need to lose all your family to be a part of this, or if they don't believe in you, then you can't, then No God can't, that's all man-made ego. And no one of the angelic, the enlightened beings, nothing that's on the other side would ever make that call for us, and nothing would ever judge another in that way. So the only people that do that are those that make conclusions about making the decision that their ultimate ego self is right, just to cause someone else to live in the fear. So if you lose family, if if you've had to live in the stories of I'm not good enough, or I'm the outcast, or I'm this or I'm that because of somebody else's belief of you, then it's time for you to start rewriting your story, and to not be afraid of a sense of enlightened beings, God consciousness, and call it whatever you want to call it. Rewrite your story to live your vulnerable, real self, and kind of say, fuck it to the rest, and be the best human you can be. Be kind, be compassionate, do the right thing. And I can tell you, no family is ever torn apart because God told them to. Any family that's ever torn apart is because somebody was an asshole, and somebody made a call to decide, I mean, for religion reasons, or for belief reasons. The only reason why you'd be torn apart for those reasons, and the only way you'd break away, is because somebody's fear stepped in the way, or somebody's ego to divide was in the way. And I can guarantee you, from all that I've learned, from my seeing the image of God, the Christ-like energy, by placing the crown on the head of Jesus in these visions of these prayers that, or these dreams that have come to me, was the sense, why not me? Why not you? And if I've been taken to that place of joining to spirit the way that I have, and the way that I experience it, and I still can read tarot cards, and I can still do mediumship, and I can still be me, and I can still be connected to God consciousness, why can't everybody? The only thing that divides us is that need to be, is that ego sense. And when you truly learn to live in love, when you truly learn to rewrite your story, to let go of angers, fears, frustrations, like all of those things, and you can turn it all into a voice of love. When you can truly look through the eyes of even the so-called enemy, which is our shadow selves, when we can look at that parts of us, and that's in my book, The So-Called Enemy in Me. And when we look at those parts of ourselves, when we truly come from that place, then we're peeling off the mask. Then we stop trying to be more than, or to be at that right hand side of God consciousness. Well, that God consciousness is right inside of you. Why do you need to be at the right or the left? Why can't you just be right in the center? Why can't you just be right here? And if that's not enough for the people around you, then you're around the wrong people. And this is our time to really, truly step into your light, to bring unity, to be able to come together, and to be able to build healthy bridges, healthy relationships. And why can't all who believe in any form of sense of knowing there's something that unites us, something that keeps us together, something that's more powerful than us? It's called love. It's called love, and it's called hope, and it's called faith, and it's called compassion. I don't care if it's the stars, moon, if it's the rock on the ground you believe in. If you believe in love, if you know of love, then you believe in something, and that's all that matters. And why should we be divided? And why should we be breaking each other down and breaking things apart and sitting up on these high pedestals? It is time to get off the pedestals. It is time to peel off the mask. It's time to let all of this just be enough, and to show up as you, no matter if you have a broken wing. It's okay to have a broken wing. We can mend broken wings, and we can come together, and we can come together in faith, hope, and love. And we can truly let go of building conclusions, and we can live with one conclusion: that we are all created of love, and we are all here. Two conclusions, and that we are all here to coexist. We are all here to come together in unity. Why not us? Why not us start at this generation? Why the next generation? Why wait till the generation after? Why are we still fighting? And what are we all still fighting for? Why? In your heart of hearts, you know what is right. You know what is wrong. If you are so determined to destroy somebody else, if you're so determined to take down somebody else just for a need to be right, what kind of conclusion are you truly placing out there? If you're costing someone else their livelihood, their life, if you're living with such a need to prove somebody else wrong, or to have somebody shut down, or have a whole industry shut down, or to what is it costing for you to get your way, for someone to be able to say that they're better than us? What is it costing? If you truly want to begin a new life that is one of unity, that's one that brings us all together, it truly is time that we live in a world where we more than just exist. I wrote the book, but it was channeled through me. It's an imperfect book of love, wrote from the mind of a woman who is not a professional writer. And ultimately, does it matter? If God asks, if the God consciousness, whatever you want to call it, if the universe, if the angels, if the guides ask me to use my stories the best to my ability to create, to put something out there that can help even one more person, then who's anyone to criticize that? Who's anyone to criticize each other? Who are we to judge? And how quickly we all can do that, including judging ourselves. It is time to start to take a good look in the mirror. And I mean take a good look. And take a good look in the eyes of another who maybe you may have been quickly coming up with conclusions about, judging, and think, is this right of me? Would I want this done to me? And trust me, we all have the ability to wake tomorrow and start a new day and to start again. Because after every storm, there is a light. And every day is a new opportunity that if you were quick to judge somebody yesterday, or if you're quick to decide who's going to be worthy enough to be in your circle, or if you decided that yesterday to judge the mediums, the psychics, or if you judged, the Christians, whatever it may be. If you were quick to judge yesterday, well, today is a new opportunity. Let's stop deciding to make those conclusions about what we think people are or what we think our story should be. And let's start rewriting new ones. What if we know nothing? And what if all we can feel and all that we truly are gauged by is love, hope, and faith, and a belief that we all matter and that we're all worthy? What kind of world will this be? Maybe it's time to celebrate instead of fight. Why can't we have one big party? And why can't we take off all the masks? And why can't we just live as who we are? And why is that not enough? Time to start allowing ourselves to be enough. And as I end, we come into more water cards. And I have the 3 and I have the 6. Power of threes. And this one is about a celebration. And it's truly about allowing ourselves to come back to laughter, fun, humor, about not being divided as family, as friends, as organizations of community, of a world, countries, no matter what it is. Time for us to be able to fully come together. And six of water. And this is truly about your childhood memories and how we get caught in the past and how we remember the past. And if you're remembering the past from the child mind of ourselves, remember how a child remembers things, or how it was, or how we seen it as a child will be totally different than how an adult sees it or hears it. And sometimes we're still reliving our stories from the view, from the thought of how we perceived it as a child. And as my new writings say, it's time for us to grow up, which means let's go to higher self. Let's take the high road. Let's look at life with a new perspective. And let's begin again. Much love. I will see you all soon. I will be back, fully back, very soon. Much love. Bye-bye.